Hello, welcome to Andertons TV. My name is Jet Duxbury, he's the Maltese Falcon. Trying something different today. We're going to do some programming, some sound design, and I'm tasked with making a piano and string patch. I've got nothing here on the keyboard. I'm going to try to talk about things that can apply to any keyboard that you've got at home, and let's go. First up, I suggest finding your favourite piano patch. For me, it's the Royal Grand 3D in here. Now, I implore you, on whatever keyboard you've got, to find a way to create an initial patch or an init patch. And that means that you'll have nothing going on and you'll want to load in these sounds individually. I say that because when you're working from presets, you might be dealing with a lot of options that you can't see, especially on these touchscreen keyboards. And I think it's much better to start cooking with the raw ingredients and no EQ, because we're going to get there in the end. We're going to finesse all that stuff, right? So, piano sound, no reverb, nothing fancy. Next off, you're going to want to layer that with a string sound. Duh. But we're going to load it up, and this is the first one in the Nord. Now, adjust the balance first thing to where you can live with it for a second. I can live with that. Next off, you're going to want to select a string sound that goes well with your piano. We're going to do all finessing with EQ and stuff in a minute, but you can win a lot of the battle just by choosing the right sample. So flick through, play the same thing over and over, and see which one binds with your piano in a way that you like. I like that. I like the detail in the string that's there. Just feel like that today. That's cool. We're going to go with that one. Now, big things. Attack and release. When I'm talking about attack, I'm going to talk about how quickly the strings come in. And when I talk about release, I'm going to talk about how they die after my hands have left the keyboard. Let's just listen to the strings on their own, how they are at the moment. They end very abruptly. So I'm going to increase the release on here. Now, a lot of keyboards will have this. Look for ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, release, and often they're mapped to these things already. So you should have the same experience. There we go. I want the strings to die away a bit. And the other thing I want to do is slow up the attack, the speed at which they come in. And you want to probably do this with the piano sample so you can hear how they bind together. I like that. If we take the piano away, here it goes. And that's what I want to happen, because I want the piano to control that first transient, really, much clearer. So we've won the battle there. We could do the gig, we're away. But what's the next level of finessing it? I would say that I'd go to EQ now. So we've done the volume, attack, and we've done the release. We want to turn your EQ on, and mainly it's the bottom end. I want the piano to control the bottom end. I see the strings in the background. So you can just experiment probably with taking all the bass out of your EQ, whichever one you've got. Again, all these keyboards will have an EQ, even with their odd like plastic knob arrangement. So this is with no EQ on the strings. Here's with all the bottom end off. See, it's not the world of difference, but we're already winning. One thing I want to point out with Nord is that, or on whatever keyboard you've got, if the bass off seems too drastic, of course, add some of it back in. But one of the things you might have, it might sound honky or like an odd boxy resonance. And the way to search for that is to go to the mid band on whatever EQ you've got, crank it to its maximum point, then sweep the frequency and listen for stuff you don't like. Now, it's testament to the Nord samples. I never get any resonances kind of jump out. But down there it seems a bit murky, so I might want to dip a bit of that out and maybe not all the bass and bring the piano back in. Again, we've got a nice balance there of the way the strings and the piano are interacting. That's all we're looking for. Done a bit of EQ on there. We've got no reverb. I'm not a big fan of reverb for the live stuff because I think you're going to kick it out into a PA, hopefully in a room bigger than this if you're doing a gig. And often it can muddy things up. Same thing as in your ear. If you've never played without reverb on a gig, try it out. It changes everything for me. Now, here's the next step. To do this, you're going to need an expression pedal. So go plug that in to whatever keyboard you've got. I've got an M Audio one down here. That's what we got. And if you want to see a master of using the expression pedal, go watch the videos I've done with Mike Patrick, my friend. He does it on a motive, and he is very deft with his foot and the touch of it. Now, this will be all manner of ways in which to do this, how you assign this on the keyboard that you've got. On the Nord, what's great is it's quite simple. You can see control pedal here. Now, one thing I'd suggest to you is instead of having the full sweep of the pedal, I'll show you what I mean. I hold control pedal and I just crank it up to where I want the pedal to go. So now I've got the full range of the strings. So let's try play like that. Now, you'd think that's how you want it. I beg to differ. What I like to do is set the level like we had before, where I kind of could just play with it and I liked where it was. Tuck it back a little bit, then give myself a limited range on the pedal. So I could just now and again give it a bit more if I wanted. That's the way I like to play. So let's set that up. Let's get rid of that assignment on the control pedal. Find a level we like. So let's go to the verse. See, I want that mid back in there. And that's why it's so, if you haven't assigned them, you've got controls, get them assigned, right, so you can make those decisions. So I like that's where that's sitting. Knock it back a little bit, and then control pedal, and I'm going to give myself that much. And let's try that. So when I'm playing a verse, I can have that roll back. Here I'm pushing that in, just try it here. I'm moving a few decibels there just to hear on its own. That's about as much as I can control. I'd recommend the Yamaha FC7. That's my favorite expression pedal, and that feels really nice, and there's a lot more control. But it's just a lot, as you can see. I mean, I don't have much space down here, but playing sustain pedal and expression can be a bit too far. So again, we've made that decision by choosing a piano sample and string sample that goes together, and the way they attack and they release. So they're working well. I'm just going to do a few other maybe Nord specific things that you might want to do, let's listen to that string sample on its own. I'll take the EQ off. The only thing better than where we're at now is probably more strings and some sauce on the strings. So let's find, I can go on this one, hold this down, I can copy it. I'm sure you'll have a copy paste function on your keyboard. What we're going to do is we're going to choose another complementary string sample. So here we go. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go paste and paste. Got that in there. Now let's just find one we like. Let's go for the first one. Here's an odd thing that I don't think a lot of people know about. If you turn on the effects section, put it onto the sample synth section, and then you crank the amount on the auto pan and leave this at 0, check it out. It turns into a panner that stays there. So I've got one string sample over there. Let's go to the other panel. I'll do the same thing. I'll put the synth section on. And to get the other side, you need the amount and the rate down on 0. If I put both panels on together, or both sounds on your keyboard, I now have a completely different string patch on either side of the image. And that can sometimes make it sound a bit more lush, a bit posh, a bit more like you put time into it as well. So check this out. That's about it really. So you make the consideration of choose your favorite ingredients, make sure they don't have tons of compression and EQ and reverb on, then put your favorite piano and a string patch together, try them out, make sure that they go together first. You might nail it off the bat, and a lot of the other keyboards have a lot more dynamics programmed into their samples. So if you like that, you like it, you're winning. Adjust the volume, maybe consider the EQ, and then lastly, if you want more control over it, you're going to probably find it's best to do it with a pedal. Aftertouch can be all right, but again, it's easier said than done. I'd like to see someone show me how they do it. I'm going to play through this song. I hope that helped. Just some considerations with it. It's not, I said to Andrew when he suggested this one, piano and strings is not a go-to for me. I would probably have a pad instead, but the same things apply to a pad sample as well, really. So we'll probably do some other ones on more useful things like leads and brass sounds, but we start with piano and strings. I'll play us out. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. I think 70% of the people that are watching aren't subscribed, and I know I get a lot of hate for asking, but hey, you don't get if you don't ask.
Facts.